All right, welcome everyone. This is Michael Sky. I am going to do a short little live stream here by myself. We are expecting some very exciting live streams in just a couple hours here. In about, let me just double check the time. 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Mr. George Bruno with us. He's built quite a large following of men on YouTube and Instagram. And he has been a big supporter of calling all men, supports men coming together in brotherhood and elderhood and mentorship and men being strong. I'm really looking forward to that live broadcast. And then after that, we're talking with Francisco Fortunio, who is a man who's been traveling the world doing men's circles, initiating men coming together all around the world. I'm interested to hear the update from him on the state of men around the world. I think he's been traveling for about 10 years. Looks like Frederick Marks is going to join us here in just a moment, but he needs to get his devices connected. So, Frederick, while you figure that out, I'll keep going here. So I'd like to share my screen with everyone. I want to show you how the summit is working and how you guys can get a lot of cool stuff, how you can attend and participate in the interviews with the men on today's theme, which is raising sons and young men to be strong men, to be adults. We're going to be talking about initiation and all these sorts of things. So, yes, Frederick is having some technical difficulties here. So, Frederick, maybe try shutting things down and reconnecting there. So, yeah, I'm going to give you guys a little overview of what's going on here with the summit so that you can get full value, connect with brothers, mentors, elders, find pathways forward. All right, let's go ahead and share screen here. Let me go ahead and share my entire screen. Right. So, yeah, here we go. Running quite the operation here. Let's see. So over here at the main event website, here's where you can register for calling all men. And let me do this properly here. Here's where you can register for calling all men. This is at callingallmensummit.com. Put in your name and email, register. You'll get all the interviews with amazing men as they go live throughout the week. Let me just show you the lineup here. I've got Dan Doty, a 3-time guest on the Joe Rogan podcast and star of the Meat Eater show on cable. George Bruno, pre-recorded interview with him, but we're going to be talking to him live here on the Facebook site in just a bit. We've got some great elders and mentors, men who work with boys and young men and initiate them into manhood. We have adventurers, we have veterans, we have men who do embodiment work, meditation, men's coaches, all sorts of great men. And then once you have opted in for free, then every day you can just come out and check out that day's lineup. So let's go ahead and do that right now. This is day 2, and we're talking to Matt Boudreau on mentorship and role models for young men. This gentleman is doing some amazing work in education, really pioneering work, breaking the mold, as is Matt Barnes, who's raised 3 amazing children, African-American children who he recommends get the hell out of the public school system ASAP, especially if they are boys. And you'll hear his very powerful advice and coaching for fathers on raising strong young men. And we talked to Michael Gay, who also does counseling and takes men into the wilderness for, at least used to take teens into the wilderness for, yeah, you could say a rites of passage initiation. Ashanti Branch, working out of Oakland, California, with many troubled boys and young men, many who are fatherless, many reacting in anger. And he's the founder of the Million Mask Movement, helping men to remove their masks and get real. And especially doing this with younger men who are stuck in patterns of emotional reaction, coming to have them, inviting them to, connect with their heart, their authentic self, and each other. Trevor Spring doing amazing work with young men as well. Ian McKenzie, the host of the Mythic Masculine podcast, and Darren Silver, who also takes men into the wilderness. For healing through nature. And then we've got what's going on in our live streams here on Facebook at facebook.com/Calling All Men Summit. This is where you can come for the lives. We're going to be talking to George Bruno here, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We talked with Paul Lloyd Robinson this morning. It was an amazing interview, a really powerful young man, South African man up in Denmark. Yes. So this is where it's going on. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're going to see if we can bring on, let's see. All right. Stop sharing the screen here. Frederick says he cannot access camera and mic. Frederick, you might want to try restarting your computer and joining us back here. So, yes. All right. Also, those of you who are digging what we're doing here, if you want to come on to one of these live streams, if you want to say hello, let us know in the comments. We might be able to invite you on for a chat with one of our guests. Let me see. Let me go ahead and walk through our lineup, our live stream lineup for the rest of the week, which you will not see on the main website. Right. So starting with tomorrow, we're talking with Michael E. Butler, who is this gentleman is a men's coach, an amateur bodybuilder, and a priest. He's going to talk to us about courage, the first virtue. Brian Begin of Fearless Man is going to join us. So tomorrow's theme is manhood, becoming a man, warriorship. And this is for the young man who's maybe it's up to himself to have this happen. We're going to speak with Markham Davis, who for many years helped men travel abroad to find feminine, kind, devoted wives abroad, mostly in the Ukraine, and now supports men building a legacy. Very fast. I think that's going to be a very fascinating interview. And we're talking with Mark Irons about testosterone. This is tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Mark Irons from Australia, who has an amazing story of kind of pulling himself back from the dead. And then on Thursday, we're talking about relationships, being a husband. We're talking about marriage, being a leader of your people, a patriarch. At noon, we talk with Leonard. And forgive me, Leonard, if I get your name wrong here. I'm going to say, well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because there's only one vowel in the word. SCZMCZAK. Sorry, Leonard, I do not know how to say your name. But he is co-author of Power Tools for Men. He's an elder. He's been working with men for a long time. Then we are going to be talking with a young Canadian man by the name of Gabriel. Gabriel, I do not have your last name on this spreadsheet. And we're going to be talking with Om Rupani a little bit later tomorrow. This is a man who does BDSM coaching and Tantra work. And he's going to talk about being a dominant man, a committed, a devoted, a leader, of and for your people. And we're going to talk with Dennis, another young man who is, who's a men's coach, and it works with men, helping men to build their kingdom. Yes, we have a full week coming up for you guys. Curious who you're most excited to hear from, and curious what questions you might have, even technical questions. You want to know how to access the 50 interviews on the website. You want to know how to get on our email list so you're notified of all the great men coming up. So Dennis tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Dennis Crosby, who is now living as an expat or perhaps a nomad out of Puerto Escondido or Playa del Carmen, Mexico, a place I know well, both Mexico and that part of Mexico. Yes. And tomorrow also, let's see. Okay. Yes. And then Friday, we'll be talking to divorced dads. We'll be talking about divorce. We're talking about suicide also, how to recognize the warning signs, how to be in communication with your people so that we prevent this terrible occurrence. And a lot of young men who take their own lives do not realize that they are at risk. They don't realize that they're at risk until it's too late. And a lot of times their parents of boys who take their own life, half of them did not realize they were at risk. And even when in the cases when they're seeking therapy, most men and boys did not give the therapist an inclination, a sense that they were at risk of suicide, and then they're gone. So the gentleman we're talking with tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern is Gabriel Kazan, another last name I'm not sure I'm pronouncing correctly. But we're talking to some great men on Thursday, which also happens to be my birthday, December 7th. And then on Friday, we're talking, So Friday, we're talking about to and about divorced fathers. And we're going to be interviewing Rick Broniak, who's another elder, been involved in men's work for decades. Leonard may or may not join him on that broadcast. I'm not sure. We'll have a fun, engaging conversation. He's the other co-author of Power Tools for Men. And we're still working on booking some last-minute interviews with some great men. So I wonder who you recommend that we interview. Then on Saturday, the 9th, 10 a.m. Eastern, we're talking to Michael Hrostowski. He's made quite a name for himself in the men's coaching movement, was the founder of the School for Men. Michael's up to some interesting, exciting things he's going to tell us about. We'll speak with Jed Diamond, another elder, a longtime man who's been working with men and on the behalf of men. He's going to talk to us about that stage in life where I'm at. I think you could say maybe late 40s, 50s, maybe early 60s, a transition point. Oftentimes there's a drop in testosterone. Oftentimes there's other challenges physically, and Jed is going to offer his words of wisdom. He's also up to some very exciting things in the world on behalf of men. Yes. And then at 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, we are going to be speaking with Soma Miller, who does some exciting men's trainings out in nature with another one of our speakers from the summit over on the website. They partner up and take men into nature for powerful experiences and a different way of connecting with your your own inner authority. And Soma is going to be speaking to us about the crisis of isolation in modern masculinity. And at 2 p.m. On Saturday, we're going to be talking to Kenny. Let me see, that's another last name. Another challenging last name here. And I need to make the spreadsheet wider so I can see the full name here. Kenny Mamarella de Cruz, who is, also he's out of the UK. He's bringing men's work and men's groups to many men around the world. Then at 10 a.m. On Sunday, we're going live with Aaron Kleinerman. Again, all these interviews, these are live interviews that are additional, that are bonus, they're supplemental to the interviews that are happening over on callingallmensummit.com. So we'll join Aaron, who travels the world, and he invites men to reclaim the part of themselves that they often deny and judge, that allows for us to be more fully expressed, more creative, more intuitive. And really looking forward to talking with him. He's on a great. I've spent the last most of the last 14 years traveling the world and also offering some of my own retreats and trainings around the world. So I love the lifestyle. I'm very curious about his. Also on Sunday, we'll be talking with with my co-host, Another Adventure, Hans Komain, in the morning. And then on that same stream will join us Owen Marcus, founder of Everyman, who is another elder. And we're going to hear about the powerful work he does with men. Then at 2 p.m. on Sunday, we're talking with James Marshall live. James, Another Adventure. That's kind of the theme for Sunday. A way to break out of the box of the modern culture, the stress, the stagnation, the boredom, and connect with our spirit of adventure, become fully embodied, find peace and presence within. So we'll talk with James. James is an international dating coach who has a ton of great stories and very practical insight. Very much look forward to connecting with James. So that's a little preview of what's coming this week. And we'll be back at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with the great George Bruno. And we'll be live streaming on his, on at least one of his platforms, I believe on YouTube, possibly also on Instagram and or Twitter. Don't miss that conversation. I think it's going to be a very fun conversation. George is the kind of man that you sit down with on the porch in your neighborhood and, full of life experience and stories. And he moves slow and he talks with, measure, and has very, just a very kind of everyman sense about him and some words of wisdom. So join us back here for that. We'll see you guys soon.